At that moment, when the party was just getting lively and no one expected anything unusual, something happened that everyone would remember forever. But before you get comfortable, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know in the comments which city you're watching from and what time it is where you are. I love seeing where everyone is joining from. Now, get cozy, we're starting. Jessica looked at herself in the hallway mirror, smoothing the soft fabric of her pastel pink dress. The dress hugged her slim waist and flared gently over her full hips, stopping daringly above her knees. Lacy white lingerie peeked through where the dress clung to her curves. She let her hand linger at her hip, feeling a pulse of excitement as she checked her reflection. Long honey blonde hair falling in loose curls, bright blue eyes, plush lips, a chest full and round, accentuated by the delicate cut of her dress. She smiled, feeling beautiful and a little reckless. Tonight was Samantha's birthday, and the house was already filled with laughter and soft pop music. Jessica could hear voices from the living room. Sam's voice, rich and vibrant, always tinged with a playful challenge. Samantha herself was already holding court. Her dark hair cut into a sharp bob, warm brown eyes sparkling. Her petite but athletic figure dressed in a cropped red top and tight, high-waisted jeans. She wore bold jewelry and exuded confidence, her laughter drawing the guests like moths to a flame. Jessica's husband, Robert, was in the kitchen, pouring drinks for a group of friends. Tall and fit, with sandy blonde hair and clear, steady eyes, he looked the perfect picture of calm and reliability. Jessica watched him for a moment, grateful for his kindness, even as she felt a strange flutter of anticipation in her stomach, a feeling she tried not to analyze too deeply. Among the guests, Jessica spotted two men she did not know well. The first, Alex, was of average height, with tousled chestnut hair, striking green eyes, and a crooked, mischievous smile. His black shirt fit snugly over a toned chest, and when he laughed, dimples flickered on his cheeks. The second man, Mark, was taller, with dark wavy hair, broad shoulders, and a more serious air. He wore a charcoal sweater and fitted jeans, his gaze quietly appraising as he spoke in low tones to a friend. A few more friends milled about. Lisa, with her platinum blonde hair and playful pixie cut, curvy and energetic in a floral dress. Erica, a statuesque redhead with a quick wit, clad in an emerald blouse and pencil skirt. And Jamie, petite with a sweet, round face, shy but always smiling, wearing soft denim overalls and a white tee. The room shimmered with beauty, youth, and the promise of something just out of reach. As the party settled into its rhythm, Jessica found herself drifting from group to group, laughing, sipping wine, and catching snippets of conversation. She noticed Alex glancing her way more than once, his eyes holding hers just a moment too long. Mark, too, seemed to follow her movements, though less obviously, his gaze lingering on the hem of her dress, the gentle curve of her legs. Jessica felt a thrill rush through her. Was it the wine or the way these two strangers looked at her as if she were the only woman in the room? Robert came to her side, slipping an arm around her waist. "Having fun?" he asked, kissing her temple lightly. "Of course," Jessica replied, smiling. "Sam always throws the best parties." "Try not to outshine the birthday girl," he teased, giving her a playful squeeze before returning to the kitchen to help with the cake. Jessica watched him go, her heart warm but her skin tingling with a restless, electric energy. The evening blurred with stories, games, and laughter. As the sun set, the backyard filled with twinkling lights. Someone suggested a round of truth or dare, and Jessica was dared to reveal the color of her lingerie. Blushing, she leaned close to Samantha and whispered the answer, sending a ripple of giggles through the group. Alex and Mark both smiled knowingly, their eyes filled with silent promises. As night deepened, the conversations grew softer, more intimate. Jessica realized she had not felt this alive in years. Surrounded by beauty and laughter, she had no idea where this night would lead. But part of her, the part that still believed in magic, hoped that something unforgettable was about to happen. The party grew softer as the evening slipped into night. Jessica wandered onto the patio, the cool air raising goosebumps along her bare arms. The garden was strung with lights, their glow casting gold on everyone's skin. Laughter filtered through the open doors, and somewhere, music played low and slow, a rhythm meant for secrets. Jessica lingered by the railing, sipping her wine. She wore it well, the confidence, the allure. But beneath, her heart beat fast. Every sense seemed heightened. She could still feel the touch of Robert's hand at her waist. But his attention was elsewhere, deep in conversation with an old friend. She watched him for a moment, then looked away, her gaze catching on Alex across the garden. Alex noticed her, his green eyes glinting in the light. He excused himself and wandered over, stopping just close enough that she could smell the faint spice of his cologne. "Cold?" he asked, his voice gentle. "A little," Jessica admitted, trying to keep her voice even. Alex slipped off his jacket and draped it around her shoulders. His fingers brushed her collarbone, and the contact sent a shiver down her spine. She thanked him with a smile, aware of how the dress's neckline dipped just a bit lower now, revealing the edge of her lace bra. They stood together, talking quietly about music and travel, their voices a private world. The garden seemed to shrink until it was just the two of them in the golden haze. "I don't think I've seen you at Sam's parties before," Alex said, his gaze holding hers. "It's been a while," Jessica replied, feeling daring. "Sometimes it's nice to feel like someone new." Mark appeared, leaning against the opposite railing, his dark eyes thoughtful. "Don't let Alex monopolize the conversation," he said with a grin. Alex laughed. "Jessica's the one keeping me here." Jessica's cheeks flushed, but she didn't look away. "Well, maybe I'm enjoying the company," she teased. Mark stepped closer, his presence more intense. He was taller, broader, with a quiet strength that made her pulse skip. "That's good to know," he said, softly, his eyes not leaving hers. Jessica felt something shift, an invisible line being drawn and then erased. For a moment, all she could hear was her own breath, the way the air thickened around them. Alex's hand rested lightly on her lower back, his thumb tracing a gentle arc. Mark's gaze dropped to the curve of her hip, then met her eyes again, an unspoken question in his look. Jessica felt a warm, exhilarating dizziness. Everything in their body language was suggestion. No one crossed the line, but each gesture lingered just a moment too long. Every laugh curled with possibility. From the patio, Jessica could see Samantha inside, chatting animatedly with Robert. Their faces were bright with laughter. A pang of guilt passed through Jessica. but it was quickly swallowed by the pulse of excitement. She was a woman wanted, watched, admired. And tonight, the rules seemed different. Sam drifted outside, bringing a burst of laughter and pulling Jessica into a playful hug. "You look like you're having a good time," Sam whispered, her breath tickling Jessica's ear. Jessica grinned, squeezing her friend's hand. Sam glanced at Alex and Mark, her eyes twinkling. "Careful, Jess. Those two have a reputation." Jessica laughed it off, but her heart leapt at the idea. Games resumed inside. Someone suggested charades, and the group tumbled onto the living room carpet, knees touching, shoulders brushing. Jessica found herself squeezed between Alex and Mark on the sofa. Their nearness was dizzying. She could feel the heat from their bodies, smell the fabric softener in Alex's shirt, the woodsy undertones in Mark's cologne. The dares became more flirtatious. Erica dared Mark to whisper his favorite secret in Jessica's ear. Mark leaned in, his lips brushing her hair as he murmured something that made her laugh. A low, private sound that sent tingles down her neck. Alex's hand found her knee under the throw blanket, warm and strong. He traced circles with his thumb, his touch gentle but confident. Jessica felt her breath catch, the soft cotton of her dress now a flimsy barrier. She didn't move away. The closeness was intoxicating, her senses sharpening as if the world had narrowed to this spot. These three people. The game moved on, but the tension did not fade. Jessica caught Samantha watching her, one eyebrow arched in amusement. Even Lisa and Jamie seemed to pick up on the change in the room, their giggles turning sly. The evening grew deeper. Guests began to drift away, hugging Sam goodbye, waving to Robert. Jessica helped clear glasses from the table, her mind spinning. Alex and Mark lingered in the kitchen, chatting quietly, their eyes following her as she moved. She met Alex's gaze, and he smiled, slow and conspiratorial. "We were talking about a night swim," he said, nodding toward the backyard pool. Jessica hesitated, biting her lip. She glanced at Robert, busy again with old friends, and then at Sam, who shrugged and grinned. "Go on," Sam urged. "Have some fun. It's your night too." Jessica smiled, feeling bold. She slipped out into the warm darkness, hearing the soft splash of someone diving in. Alex and Mark were already at the water's edge, waiting. Jessica sat and dipped her feet, her dress riding up her thighs, the cool water a shock on her skin. Mark's hand brushed her ankle underwater, slow and deliberate. Alex sat close behind her, his knees pressed to her back, his breath warm against her shoulder. Jessica felt a heady rush of anticipation. There were rules she knew, but tonight they seemed so far away. For a moment, surrounded by the night and the water and these two men, she let herself forget everything except the thrill of being seen, desired, and alive. The pool's cool embrace shimmered under the moonlight, reflecting the tangled lights above. Jessica sat at the water's edge, toes skimming the surface, the hem of her dress slightly damp and clinging to her thighs. Alex and Mark moved through the water, their bodies casting shifting shadows. The night had deepened into something dreamlike, every movement slower and more significant. "Come in," Alex called softly, treading water. His chestnut hair slicked back, and his green eyes catching the faint light. Mark was already at the far end, resting his arms along the edge, water beading on his strong shoulders. watching her with that quiet, intent focus. Jessica hesitated. She glanced around. Everyone else was still inside, laughter and music drifting through the open windows. Her heart raced as she finally slipped off her heels and slid into the pool, feeling the silk of her dress float and swirl. Beneath, she felt the thin line of her lace underwear hug her hips, the cool water only intensifying her awareness of her own body. The three of them drifted together at the far side, away from prying eyes. There was a hush in the air, a sense that the world had shrunk to this private, glittering oasis. Jessica's hair clung damply to her bare shoulders, her skin tingling from the temperature and from something else, something electric. Alex was the first to come closer, his hand finding her waist beneath the water, gentle but unmistakable. Jessica looked up, meeting his gaze. There was laughter in his eyes, but something deeper too, a boldness that matched the wild flutter in her own chest. Mark slid beside her, so close that his thigh brushed hers. For a long moment, nothing was said. Alex's fingers traced slow, weightless circles at her hip, and Mark's hand cupped the back of her neck, steadying her. Jessica felt caught between them. Two handsome strangers, the tension between all three of them thrumming like a string about to snap. The patio lights caught droplets on Mark's jaw as he leaned closer, brushing his lips against Jessica's temple. She drew in a shaky breath, startled by how natural the closeness felt. How right. Alex moved behind her, his arm draping lightly across her shoulders, drawing her gently back. Their hands met briefly under the water, each man tracing gentle lines along her sides, over the slick fabric clinging to her curves. For a moment, the outside world was gone. Jessica let her head rest back, feeling Alex's breath warm against her cheek. Mark's lips, soft and searching at her jaw. Their touches were exploratory, gentle, as if learning the map of her body for the very first time. The water pressed cool against her skin, but their hands brought heat. Alex's fingers slid along her thigh, stopping just at the edge of her dress, while Mark's palm pressed to the small of her back. She felt cherished, beautiful, the center of their attention and affection. Every gentle brush of lips, every whispered word of admiration made her feel more alive than she'd felt in years. A sudden sound, a burst of laughter from inside, snapped Jessica out of the trance. She stiffened instinctively, but Mark gave her a reassuring smile, and Alex squeezed her hand under the water. They all froze for a heartbeat, listening, hearts pounding. Then, a voice called from the patio, "Jess, are you out here?" It was Sam, sounding suspicious and amused. Jessica's cheeks flamed as she hurriedly pulled away, smoothing her dress as best she could. Alex and Mark exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. A secret, now shared. They climbed out after her, their clothes clinging, the illusion broken, but the memory already branded deep. Sam stood on the patio, arms crossed, eyebrow arched. "You three look like you've been up to something," she teased, eyeing their wet hair and rumpled clothes. Jessica forced a laugh. "Just needed to cool off. The party was getting a bit warm." "Uh-huh," Sam grinned, but let it drop, her eyes sparkling with unspoken questions. "Come on, cake time." Inside, Robert was lighting candles, his smile wide as he caught Jessica's eye. For a moment, guilt twisted in her stomach, but she pushed it away. This night felt like a wild dream, unreal, but intoxicating. The rest of the evening passed in a daze. Jessica felt the weight of glances. Alex's smirk, Mark's gentle nod, Sam's knowing looks. She tried to act normal, laughing, chatting, helping pass out slices of cake. Her heart still pounded from the pool, from the feel of two sets of hands, two pairs of eyes, both seeing her in a way she hadn't felt in years. When the party wound down, Jessica found herself alone in the hallway, trying to catch her breath. She leaned against the wall, closing her eyes. She could still feel the tingle of Alex's fingers tracing her skin under the water, the press of Mark's hand at her back. Her body hummed with memory, every nerve alight. A door creaked. Alex appeared, his shirt now mostly dry, his hair tousled. He paused, searching her face. "I hope I didn't—" Jessica shook her head quickly, her voice a whisper. "No, I liked it. I didn't expect it, but I liked it." Mark's voice came from the other end of the hallway. "So did I." They stood for a moment, uncertainty hanging in the air. But before anyone could speak further, footsteps sounded. The rest of the guests coming for coats and farewells. The spell was broken. Jessica went to find Robert, hugging him tightly, pressing her face to his chest. He kissed her hair, completely unaware. She felt a surge of affection and something else, complicated and fierce. That night, as Jessica lay in bed beside her sleeping husband, she stared at the ceiling. She replayed every moment, the glances, the touches, the way she had been the center of two men's attention. She wondered what would happen next, if this was a one-time spark, or the start of something she barely dared to imagine. Her mind spun with questions and with longing. She was shocked by her own desires, by how easily the boundaries had shifted. Yet, beneath it all, she felt alive, more herself than she'd been in a long time. And she knew, with the certainty of a secret too sweet to share, that this story was only beginning. Morning sunlight crept through the blinds, painting lines across the bedroom wall. Jessica blinked awake, her thoughts hazy, the previous night replaying in fragmented flashes. She glanced at Robert, still asleep beside her, his arm flung across the pillow. For a moment she watched him, a strange ache twisting inside her chest. A blend of guilt, gratitude, and restless energy she could not quite explain. She slipped quietly out of bed, the memory of warm water, hands on her skin, and forbidden glances thrumming just beneath her surface. In the mirror she studied herself, her long blonde hair slightly tangled, blue eyes still smudged with last night's makeup, the faintest trace of a bruise on her collarbone from a gentle touch that had not been Robert's. Jessica traced it with her fingers, her pulse fluttering. Downstairs, the house was quiet. Cups and empty bottles from the party still dotted the kitchen. Jessica started gathering dishes, letting the soothing repetition calm her nerves. As she rinsed glasses, a notification buzzed on her phone. It was a message from Sam. "Brunch at mine? Just us girls. You coming?" Jessica hesitated, her heart thudding. Did Sam know more than she let on? Was it just a casual invitation, or something else? Jessica texted back a quick, "I'll be there," before she could talk herself out of it. In the shower, she let the water run hot, steam curling around her. She tried to puzzle out her own feelings, but found herself instead replaying the sensation of Alex's hand gliding along her thigh, Mark's lips tracing her jaw. For a brief moment, her hand lingered at her waist, recalling those gentle, searching touches. The heady sense of being the only one in the world those eyes could see. Dressed in a soft blue sundress and simple white lingerie, Jessica headed out, the hem of her dress brushing her knees, her figure outlined softly in the morning light. Her curves felt more noticeable, her posture more assured. She couldn't help but wonder if Alex or Mark remembered every detail as vividly as she did. Sam's place buzzed with the easy energy of a girls' brunch. Pancakes, fresh coffee, laughter. Lisa lounged on the couch in a flowery romper, her platinum hair a bright halo. Erica, ever poised, wore a sleek grey jumpsuit that showed off her athletic form. Jamie, in pastel shorts and a white blouse, arranged fruit on a tray. Everyone looked relaxed. But when Jessica entered, all eyes turned to her, smiles flickering, as if they sensed a secret in the air. Sam greeted her with a hug, her dark hair pulled up into a playful bun, her small frame wrapped in a soft terry robe. "Rough night?" Sam teased quietly, giving Jessica a sly grin. Jessica blushed. "Not at all. Just exciting, maybe." Sam laughed, but her gaze lingered, searching Jessica's face for something more. The conversation drifted from party gossip to work to favorite TV shows. Jessica listened, her mind half present, glancing up whenever someone mentioned last night. Erica leaned in at one point, her voice conspiratorial. "I heard you snuck off for a swim with Alex and Mark?" Lisa giggled. "Not the only one with an eye for trouble, huh?" Jessica just smiled, feeling a strange mixture of pride and nerves. Was it possible someone had seen more than she thought? Was it all just playful teasing? As the meal wound down, Sam pulled Jessica aside. They settled onto the back porch, sunlight painting patterns through the lattice. Sam lowered her voice. "So, are you going to tell me what really happened last night?" Jessica hesitated, searching Sam's eyes. "What do you mean?" "Oh, come on. I know those boys. And I saw your face when you came in from the pool. You looked like you'd been somewhere else." Jessica laughed, a little too quickly. "Maybe I was. Maybe it was just the wine." Sam studied her for a long moment, then shrugged, a soft smile tugging at her lips. "Whatever it was, you seem different today. Happier, maybe." Jessica felt a rush of relief and affection. "Thanks, Sam. I think I needed last night, more than I realized." They sat together in companionable silence, sipping coffee. The world felt brighter, as if charged with possibility. Back home, Robert was out for a run. Jessica busied herself with chores, but the questions kept circling. She checked her phone more than once, half hoping for a message from Alex or Mark, but nothing came. Were they thinking about her? Did they regret what happened? Or were they waiting for her to make the next move? That evening, she found herself drawn to the living room window, watching the world outside. The sky glowed gold and violet as dusk settled. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. A new message. This time, it was from an unknown number. "You looked beautiful last night. I hope you're thinking of us too." Her heart leapt. She typed back, fingers trembling. "Which one of you is this?" The reply came after a pause. "Does it matter? Maybe you'll find out soon." A thrill raced through her. electric and mysterious. She pictured both men, Alex's teasing grin, Mark's steady gaze. The idea of both thinking of her, wanting her, sent a flush through her whole body. Later, as Robert returned, Jessica tried to act as if nothing was different, but she caught herself smiling at odd moments, lost in secret thought. That night, when Robert reached for her, she hesitated, then let herself be held, her mind full of tangled images and sensations. She drifted into sleep, dreams swirling with water and laughter and the feeling of arms, sometimes Alex, sometimes Mark's, holding her close. When she woke, there was a new energy in her body, a sense of something unresolved. She felt as though she were living inside a riddle, every moment holding the possibility of discovery. She checked her phone again the next morning. Another message. "The story's not over. Let's see where it leads." Jessica smiled, slipping her phone into her bag. Mystery and excitement danced in her heart. She did not know what would happen next, but she knew she wanted to find out. The days after the party passed in a restless blur for Jessica. The secret messages became a thread she could not let go of. Some mornings it was a playful thinking of you from Alex, sometimes a single heart emoji from Mark. Never a name, never a plan. Always the tease, the hint of possibility. Her home life, meanwhile, shifted in subtle ways. Robert noticed she was quieter, often lost in thought. He tried to draw her out with small gestures. Flowers at breakfast, spontaneous hugs. Jessica responded, but there was a distance now, an energy she struggled to name, like a new current under the calm surface of their marriage. One afternoon, Jessica met Sam for coffee in a downtown cafe. Sam, as always, cut to the heart of things. "You haven't been yourself lately," she observed, watching Jessica over the rim of her mug. Jessica hesitated. "I think I'm just going through something." Sam raised an eyebrow. "Does it have to do with Alex and Mark?" Jessica nearly dropped her spoon. "How do you—" Sam grinned. "I was young once, too. You're not the first woman those two have charmed." Jessica blushed, unsure whether to feel comforted or exposed. That evening, Jessica prepared dinner as Robert came home, tired and smiling. They ate together, their conversation full of the usual stories and laughter. But when Robert reached for her hand across the table, she felt the divide between them widen. Something unsaid, a part of her now kept hidden. After dinner, Jessica's phone buzzed with a new message. "Meet us tonight. You choose the place." Her breath caught. She looked at Robert, who was washing dishes, unaware. A surge of longing crashed through her, followed quickly by guilt. Could she really see them again? Was it right? She typed a reply, hands trembling. "I can't tonight. Maybe soon." Alex's answer came quickly. "We'll wait. You're worth it." That night, Jessica dreamed of the pool again. Cool water, warm hands, laughter in the dark. But this time, the dream shifted. She saw Robert standing at the edge, watching, a question in his eyes. She woke with her heart racing, torn between desire and loyalty, craving and comfort. The next morning, Robert surprised her with breakfast in bed. He looked at her with such open affection, Jessica almost confessed everything. Instead, she kissed him, trying to lose herself in his embrace. But even in his arms, her mind drifted. Memories of Alex's boldness, Mark's steady warmth. As days passed, Jessica's conflict grew. She could not focus at work. Her friends noticed her distraction. Even Sam grew more concerned, pulling her aside after yoga class one day. "You can't live in two worlds forever, Jess," Sam warned gently. "You have to make a choice." Jessica nodded, knowing Sam was right, but unable to decide which world she belonged to. One Friday night, Robert suggested they go out for dinner. Just the two of them, like old times. Jessica dressed with extra care, choosing a fitted black dress, soft satin lingerie beneath, hoping to spark something familiar. As they walked through the restaurant, she noticed admiring glances from other patrons. Robert smiled proudly, holding her hand tightly. Over dessert, Robert leaned in, his voice low. "You're somewhere else tonight, Jess. Is everything okay?" Jessica looked into his eyes, searching for words. I'm not sure. I think I'm changing." "I don't know what that means yet." Robert squeezed her hand, worry flickering in his gaze. "Whatever it is, I want to help, but you have to let me in." That night, as they lay in bed, Jessica's phone buzzed again. She ignored it, turning her face toward Robert. But sleep wouldn't come. Her mind replayed the messages, the night at the pool, the possibilities still unexplored. In her dreams, the conflict became sharper. She found herself back at the party, caught between Alex and Mark, their hands warm, their words coaxing. Robert appeared at the edge, reaching out to her, but she hesitated. The dream ended with Jessica alone, a sense of longing and confusion swirling inside her. The next day, a surprise. Alex and Mark showed up at the cafe where Jessica was reading. They approached together, looking casual, as if it were all coincidence, but their eyes told another story. "Jessica," Alex said, his smile gentle but determined. "We missed you." Mark added, "We don't want to make things harder for you, but we can't stop thinking about you." Jessica's pulse raced. "It's not that simple," she whispered. Alex nodded. "We know, but sometimes the simple things are worth fighting for." Yeah. For a moment, Jessica stood between them, torn. She saw desire and kindness in both their faces, a connection she could not deny. But she also thought of Robert, of home, of the life she had built. The conflict inside her burned brighter than ever. That night, as she lay awake, Jessica realized the choice was hers alone. She could continue hiding, letting desire and guilt tear at her. Or she could confront her feelings and face the truth, whatever that might be. She stared at the ceiling, heart pounding, knowing a decision would have to come soon. Whatever she chose, someone would be hurt. But the only thing worse than pain, she realized, was never truly living. The weekend dawned cool and bright. Jessica awoke to sunlight painting soft patterns across her sheets, her body heavy with the weight of dreams and the lingering ache of indecision. She sat at the edge of the bed, letting her feet rest on the floor, listening to the gentle sounds of Robert preparing coffee downstairs. She touched her own shoulder, as if searching for a sign, a mark, a memory that would guide her. The turmoil of the past week simmered beneath her skin. The secret messages, the heat of Alex's hands, the steadiness of Mark's gaze, the familiar safety of Robert's embrace. All these threads tangled together until Jessica barely recognized herself. She showered slowly, letting the water run over her long hair. trailing over her curves. She dressed simply, in a white sundress that hugged her form but felt light as air and matching soft cotton lingerie. For once, she wore no makeup, wanting to meet herself honestly in the mirror. She saw not just a beautiful woman, but someone standing at the threshold of change. Uncertain, yes, but quietly brave. The house was filled with the cozy aroma of toast and coffee. Robert smiled when she entered, looking tired but hopeful. "You sleep okay?" he asked. Jessica hesitated, then nodded. "I did. I think I've just had a lot on my mind." Robert set down his mug. "I know. I can feel it. If you need to talk, I'm here, Jess." Jessica met his gaze, searching for resentment, anger, suspicion, but finding only gentle worry and love. They ate breakfast together in an easy silence. The world outside their window felt both ordinary and full of new possibility. Afterward, Robert left to meet a friend, leaving Jessica alone in the quiet house. She wandered from room to room, touching familiar objects. A framed photo, a favorite mug, a scarf thrown over a chair. Everything looked the same, yet nothing felt quite as it had. She wondered if it was possible to live two lives at once, to be both faithful and free. The answer, she suspected, lay somewhere in between. A soft chime from her phone broke the silence. It was a new message. From Alex this time, she knew by the phrasing. "We're at the lake this afternoon. If you want to talk, or just see us, come by. No expectations." Jessica's heart pounded. She typed a reply, then deleted it, then typed again. "Maybe I will." She spent the morning walking, letting her thoughts settle. The sun was warm on her bare shoulders. She remembered every touch, every look. But now she searched for what truly mattered, what she needed, not what she craved. By midday, she found herself driving to the lake, her dress fluttering in the soft breeze from the open window. She parked and wandered down the grassy slope. Alex and Mark were there, sitting beneath a tree, looking out over the shimmering water. When they saw her, they stood, unsure but smiling. Jessica joined them on the blanket, her heart thundering. The conversation began awkwardly, full of nervous laughter and unfinished sentences. But soon it softened, as if all three sensed the turning point. "I don't know what I'm doing," Jessica confessed at last, her voice small but clear. "I don't want to hurt anyone, but I needed to know I was still alive." Mark touched her hand gently. "You are alive, Jessica. You have nothing to be ashamed of." Alex nodded, his eyes soft. "We're grateful for what we shared. But you get to choose what's next." For a long moment, Jessica let herself be still, feeling the warmth of the sun and the presence of these two men. She remembered every electric moment, but she also thought of Robert, of home, of the safety she sometimes took for granted. Mark leaned closer, his lips brushing her temple in a gesture as delicate as sunlight. Alex squeezed her hand, a silent promise of care. Jessica closed her eyes, letting herself feel both cherished and free. No pressure, only understanding. The intimacy was gentle, honest, a quiet celebration of connection rather than possession. They sat together in the hush of afternoon, laughter rising now and then, soft and real. When Jessica finally stood to leave, she hugged them both, grateful for what they had given her. Not just excitement, but a reminder of her own strength and desire. Driving home, she felt lighter. She knew the choice she needed to make. It was not just about loyalty or desire, but about living openly, without shame or secrecy. That evening, as the sky faded to dusk, Jessica found Robert on the porch, reading. She sat beside him, her hands folded in her lap. "Robert," she began, "I need to talk. I need to tell you everything, even the hard parts. I want us to be honest, with each other and with ourselves." Robert closed his book, looking at her quietly, his face open and attentive. "Whatever it is, Jess, I want to hear it. I love you." So she told him, not every detail, but enough for truth. Her fears, her longing, the feeling of being invisible and then suddenly seen. Robert listened, his hand steady on hers. There were tears, but not of anger. Only honesty, relief, and the slow work of understanding. When the conversation ended, Robert pulled her close. "We can find each other again," he said. "If you're willing to try, so am I." That night, they moved together gently with new tenderness. Jessica let herself be vulnerable, sharing not just her body, but her heart, her wishes, her regrets. She realized that real intimacy was more than heat. It was trust, forgiveness, the courage to begin again. The next morning, Jessica stood at the window, sunlight spilling over her bare shoulders. She felt changed, wiser, softer, more herself. Her story was not over, but she no longer feared what might come next. Her phone buzzed, a simple message from Sam. "You okay?" Jessica smiled, typing back, "I am. For the first time in a long while, I really am." She looked out at the world, bright and full of promise. She had risked everything, but found herself along the way. The adventure might not be finished, but now, whatever happened, she would face it with open eyes and an open heart.